Yeah. Oh, didn't get a stop, did it?
I'm hearing about it more.
I am too, yeah.
I feel like it's a bubble again.
Yeah. That's kind of how all of them work, though. The flu works that way.
Of East Bay Charter Township Planning Commission, Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. We'll begin it off with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you please join me. They moved it.
Where is it?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, and if we could get a roll call, please.
Sure. Edley. Gonzalez.
Here.
Richardson.
Here.
Wassam.
Present.
Ferguson.
Here.
Walters.
Present.
And Leonard.
Here. Thank you. Next up on the agenda is a review for conflict of interest. Anyone have anything to declare with the items before us this evening? Didn't feel like it at the site visit either. All right. We'll move into approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for Wednesday, August 7th, 2024.
Second.
Thank you. We've got a motion by Mindy, seconded by Paul for approval of the agenda as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next up is the meeting minutes from July 16th at the joint meeting a few weeks ago. Feels like it was kind of yesterday. Any adjustments or corrections? Should we strike half of the things that they brought up to us? Say, we forgot. They didn't get in the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the joint meeting of the Board of Trustees and the Planning Commission on July 16th, 2024.
Thank you. We have a motion on the table for approval of the meeting minutes from July 16th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mindy and Rhonda. Up next is under public comment. Feel free to come up to the mic, anyone who'd like to speak. We will have a couple conversations about a couple elements on the agenda later this evening, but feel free to take up to 3 minutes if you have anything you'd like to talk to us about. Okay, going once, going twice. We'll keep on rolling. Up next is correspondence. Claire, looks like we've got just a couple things on our desk this evening.
Yeah, we've got, Acme Township is beginning, send out intent plan notification. City of Traverse City has a master plan public hearing coming up, and then Garfield Township recently adopted their master plan, so lots of master planning going on in Grand Traverse County. We did receive a number of other correspondence related to the zoning ordinance, and so I know planning commissioners received copies of that in your email. Those will be in the August 20th packet when we discuss.
Gotcha. Any questions for Claire? Okay, moving into reports. Mindy, we probably don't have a township board report since our last one. Anything pressing?
The last meeting besides the joint meeting was the township board meeting was mostly the audit. But I did have a couple election committee meetings between then and now. We made sure that the tabulators were working properly and ready for the election that took place yesterday. So if you want to see election results, you can go to grandtraverse.org, I think it is, and view them there.
Sounds good. Any questions for Mindy? Paul, you're up.
Yeah, we had a meeting on July 9th, and in that meeting, we denied a dimensional variance request for signage on US 31.
Was that the billboard?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks for the update. Back to Claire.
And just related to the billboards, we have a survey out right now. It's a follow-up survey through the Beach District, District Monday. And we're looking at refining a number of different items related to visiting, but one of them is related to signage. So those results will be presented to the planning commission at your September meeting, and we will have a more holistic discussion about billboards and regulations.
Can't wait.
Did want to just mention that the MDNR Trust Fund Board meeting for August is going to be here at East Bay Township Hall. A public meeting open to the public. It's the morning of August 14th, next Tuesday. Or is that Wednesday? I think that's next Wednesday. And
Yeah.
the East Bay Township has the opportunity with TART to give a short presentation for the trust fund grant applications that we submitted for the 3 Mile Trail. So that's exciting to be able to present in front of the board prior to them making the decision on grant funding. The zoning ordinance, just wanted to give you an update on schedule. We're going to have a follow-up work session August 20th, and then we're anticipating a public hearing on September 24th. So keep moving that forward. I did approve a minor amendment to the approved site plan for True North, and that's just that they're adding a canopy over their car wash station, and we follow our dark sky. And then the other, just exciting news, we're going to be recommending to the township board next Monday to hire CMC as a full-time investigator. It hasn't been officially accepted by the township board yet, but that will be the recommendation of the township board Monday.
Nice. Good to hear. Good. All right. Any questions for Claire? Mindy?
The public hearing for the zoning ordinance, is that going to be at the regular meeting, or is that going to be a special meeting?
That wouldn't be able to be at the September regular meeting, just because we have to notice it, and it would be dependent
On
on
what
if we
would-
hit a good point after August 20th. So if it's in September, it would be at a special meeting.
Okay.
Otherwise, it could potentially be at a regular October meeting. So it's going to be kind of dependent on where that conversation goes on August 20th. But the earliest it would be later in September.
Would that meeting then be us recommending it to the board for adoption?
Yep.
So then the board would host that conversation first before we, in theory, go live with the public hearing?
Planning commission would hold, so similar to text amendments or rezoning requests, the planning commission would first hold the public hearing, make a recommendation to the township board, and then the township board does not need to hold a public hearing,
Okay.
but they will need to ultimately adopt it.
Is it not working at all, or?
Oh, here we go. Okay, sorry about that. Okay.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yep.
Wow, that might be louder now. Okay, any other questions for Claire? Okay. Moving on into new business, we've got, first up under 9A is site plan review 13-24, special land use 6-24 at the Park Shore Vacation Rentals. This is a public hearing, but first, let's have Claire maybe set the table for us on this project.
Okay, so this is a 16-unit townhome-style vacation rental development on US 31. It's required to be a special land use permit. It's in the regional business district. It's on 2 existing parcels, so it's about 1.5 acres. The primary entrance is shared with Bayside Market, and it currently exists, so there's no MDOT driveway permits required. There's 2 cross-access connections that are being recommended, one with the former Calypso restaurant and to the east with Red Mesa. So the applicant has been working proactively with both adjacent landowners. The site plan includes a TART connection to both Park Shore and Red Mesa that would be on that Park Shore vacation rental property. There's an existing storage building that's proposed to be used by the vacation renters. I will mention, and you probably saw in the site plan, there's about 3/4 of an acre of tree removal that's proposed in the rear of the property. There is an updated site plan set that was submitted yesterday to address stormwater, and it has been shared with the township engineer, and I believe Shane with Gordy Fraser has a copy of that updated site plan set. It's pretty minimal changes. They're basically adding 2 open retention basins as opposed to the previous permeable paver that was proposed, and it sounds like this new configuration is favorable to Wade Trim, to our township engineer. But basically, it would result in a slight increase in total open space, slight minor relocation of the light poles, but not affecting the photometric plans. And it would also decrease the parking spaces by 2. So this resulting in a deficit of 3 parking spaces. Assuming that there's, and I don't know if you saw a copy, I think I included in your packet, but there was an easement from 1987 that basically states, and the applicant can speak to it more, but my understanding was that it states that 12 parking spaces are to be reserved, on that property are to be reserved for use by Bayside Market. So that results in 33 spaces total, 21 of which would be for this development. Mindy?
Are they for exclusive use of the Bayside
I
Market?
think it's shared use.
Okay.
That's my understanding. So with 21 that would be dedicated exclusively to Park Shore, to their 16 rentals. So I guess from my perspective, that 3 vehicle detriment, and it wouldn't even be 3 just because it's not exclusive to Bayside, could be addressed through units arriving in 1 vehicle and supplementing daily trips with Bayline and Tar Trail. So I'm comfortable with the parking arrangements, but I did just want to mention that. You'll recall that there was a sketch plan review meeting in June for this proposal. One question that was raised was the permissibility of short-term rentals being exempt in the regional business district. So we did include correspondence from legal counsel with the legal rationale and justification for the exemption. So you'll see that letter, email from legal counsel is included in the packet. Grand Traverse Metro Fire has approved it. There's generally positive comments from our preliminary engineering review. The stormwater and soil erosion would be permits that would be secured by the applicant after approval tonight. And I have communicated with MDOT, but there's no permits required just because there's no change to that. It doesn't meet their standards, but they don't have any problem with it just because it's an existing driveway entrance.
Gotcha. Thank you. Any other questions for Claire? If not, the applicant's here this evening. Come on up. If you would mind, introduce yourself, give us a little background on the project. You might need to share that mic.
Yes.
Yeah, so,
Good evening.
here we go. Test, working?
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think we're good.
Shane Gamrat, project engineer with Gordy Frazier.
Brian Ventura, owner of Park Shore Resort.
So Claire pretty much summarized this pretty thoroughly. It's a vacation rental property, 16 units, and one thing I want to add is there is a 17th build or unit in there that's explicitly for laundry and office facilities, not to be rented out. Like Claire said, we've kind of been working with Wade Trim on the stormwater on this, going back and forth with different options. Ultimately, per discussions with them, sounds like this storm basins that we have proposed in this new plan that just got passed around is the most viable option to them. So that is kind of what we're proceeding forward with. We've had discussions with both adjacent property owners in regards to connectivity. There were some talks at the sketch plan review in regards to the sidewalk. So we've been kind of communicating as best we can with the adjacent property owner to relocate the sidewalk that meanders the property line onto their property, as well as have a separate sidewalk for Park Shore vacation rentals that will be gated. There hasn't really been too many changes since the last time we were here, other than these kind of stormwater meanders that we've kind of been going through. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions of the commission while the applicant's here? Okay, and we will have a public hearing, so we might gather a little more input, and then we'll come back to you if we need to, but thank you for the explanation. I do have one before you walk away, though, and it's tied more so to just kind of background. Hospitality is what you guys have done. Have you occupied this space? This feels like a little bit different operation, being a townhome, but will be under the same operations, will be a totally new unit of maintenance and taking care of everything and managing folks. Could you speak to that a little bit?
I built Park Shore in 99 and 2000 and run it ever since. So I've got 24 years of running that. This will be an accessory business to that. So we'll offer it in conjunction where they can utilize our beach and they can utilize our lounge and those kind of things as an attraction. And then our point of sale at the hotel will handle this property as well. So we won't need a functional office or staff over there.
Okay, gotcha. So folks will basically check in online, or they physically go in?
Yeah, the technology has gotten to the point where even at the hotel anymore, there's very little interaction with customers. So yeah, it's pretty much an online process.
Because I've seen a lot of them today where it's basically like keyless, right? Before you even get there, you've got your code, you walk up to the door, bang, you're there. I'm only asking these questions because you saw what it was like getting out of there today, and you experience it every day. So that back and forth is one thing in my mind, if we could cut that down, but it sounds like if that's kind of the way that you're heading.
Yeah, the new technology today is your cell phone. You check in on your phone is your key for the door, your phone is everything, so you don't even have codes or passes or anything. It initiates at your check-in time, expires when you check out.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Oh, go ahead, Paul.
Go ahead, if,
No, I'm good. Thank you for that.
you had mentioned that the facility is going to be a seasonal facility, it's not going to be year-round.
Correct.
However, when you're building these, could they be year-round? Would they be heated and things of that nature?
They'll be heated.
Okay.
We won't, we have to maintain them through the off-season. I don't want to go to seasonal rentals for long-term people because it's not worthwhile putting wear and tear on the property for the return you get on investment. So no, for the most part, they'll be seasonal. I've got some Airbnb houses and there's no reason to maintain those in the off-season. So I still have to heat them and maintain them, but I don't want them out.
Right, no, I was just curious if they could be, and the answer is yes.
They could be, sure.
Right, thank you.
I have a question. So you said that the tenants at the Airbnb will be able to use your beach and all of that. That kind of leads to me to wonder is, are people, that road is awful. And, you know, I'm just wondering, are they going to be V-lining across that road to get to your beach? Or are you going to be encouraging them to go down to 4 Mile? I mean, you know.
We get a lot of transient traffic on our beach now because I don't choose to be the beach cop. Originally, I tried playing that role and every time to try and second-guess somebody you're wrong, and you look bad. So the traffic we get now, some of them walk, some of them drive their vehicles, some of them come from neighboring hotels for the beach and the lounge. So I would say it'd be a combination of everything. You know, for me to specify you have to go down the bridge and cross over, I could do that, but people are going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah. It's just a concern.
The bridge is pretty close.
Yeah, but they're not going to walk down there and use it. I think they're going to V-line straight across.
It would have at 5 o'clock tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Just curious.
Any other questions? Thank you for your time. We might come back to you. Appreciate it. So with that, we can open the public hearing at 6:50. And anybody who has any questions of the applicant, or please address them to the commission, and we'll take any comments you would like to have.
Mansfield Land Use Consultants, 830 Cottage Beach Drive, Suite 201, Traverse City. I just want to say that we're working on the Calypso site next door. We've met with their team. We're about a month behind them, and still figuring out our stormwater, geotechnical things and things like that. But I will say our discussions have been good about aligning our cross connections and anything we can do to make utilities more efficient and these kind of things. So it's been a good relationship so far.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. Good insight. Anyone else? Going once, going twice. Okay, we'll close the public hearing at 6:52 and bring it back to the planning commission. Any thoughts, concerns, questions that you may have? I will say, I wanted to bring this up just as kind of a point of emphasis in what we have going on in the beach district, just in terms of design. When you look at the architectural renderings that were included in the packet, you know, it's, I feel like what we're kind of aiming toward is probably going to be highlighting and tying into some of the other features that are around there. And this one's unique in the fact that it sits so far back off the road. I mean, from 31, I don't even know how you would see it, truly, unless the other buildings just go away, which could very well happen. But given its location, I'm not so concerned about it, and frankly, for what we have on the books right now, like, design isn't one that we really get in the weeds on today. But just as this beach conversation evolves, like, I think this is an example of one where, you know, maybe have that in the back of your mind for future redevelopment along this corridor, because I truly think that's something we need to put more thought into. We spent a little bit of time, and this goes back a little ways, into the other district that was more mixed-use targeted, that would be over by the airport. I can't remember what we called it, but we put a lot of, we actually put some light design guidelines in there. And right now, even for like this corridor, we just don't have anything. You know, so as much as the applicant, you know, is putting together a project that fits in there, you know, I think they're, just for the future, something for us to consider is maybe something to speak more to that design aspect so that we get kind of more of a congruent fixture up and down that corridor.
think that's a good point. You'll see in the draft zoning ordinance, there are some design guidelines which have been pulled from the airport service district.
Thank
So
you.
And they're not, specific to the airport style, but they are generally kind of, just, windows and awnings and parking in back. And so they're not super detailed, but they're kind of the start of some design guidelines, which I think will be helpful, and we can always further refine them to more specific building materials if necessary.
Gotcha. That would be helpful. I just want to bring that up, not that it's any knock on the project, but it's just something that I know, I saw it in some of the comments that we got back on this from the public. And just something that's been on my mind is we've seen a lot of improvements and projects come through here as of recent. So, one more. Any other questions, comments out there on this one?
Yeah, one question, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to make a comment. So we did receive a communication, and it was just today, so I'm not sure everybody had a chance to see it or pull the packet down. But to the developer, you're meeting the percentage of native plants, spot on. So thank you absolutely for doing that. There just was some feedback from a local organization called Go Beyond Beauty, native versus non-native, and they just gave some examples here. So just draw your attention to that. Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just a question, more curiosity. I see on the drawing here, item number 8, which is the connection between the properties on the west-hand side. Is there anything contemplated for the east-hand side as far as a connection, or is that going to be something that would happen if anybody developed that area?
It's on there.
It's on there.
Is it 7?
Yeah.
There is a connection shown. The actual feasibility of that is going to be a little bit dependent on, Red Mesa right now has parking spaces that abut that connection. So as a part of this approval and recommended condition of approval would be a reciprocal access easement to allow, free flow of traffic at that location. So that's in place, and the actual implementation would also be contingent on Red Mesa agreeing to that. It sounds like they're not there yet, and/or, redevelopment of that site or site improvements where, and Shane, do you have anything to add?
Oh, okay, I see that now, thank you.
Mindy?
I'm looking at sheet 3.1 of the plan set that we were just handed. In each of these parking spaces that are south of the retention basins have a unit number assigned to them. Are they going to actually be assigned spaces? Because that's against that 12.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the 12.
Yeah, there's only 6 left.
So in regards to the parking, the numbers that are on there, those are more so for the, just reference when looking at the plans. I guess that'd be a question for Brian, are you planning on marking these designated for the units?
No, they will be designated spots, so we still be open parking.
Okay, thank you. And then Claire, do we have a parking requirement for that laundry facility? Is that laundry facility going to be used more for just this development, or is Park Shore Resort itself going to be using that as laundry as well?
Just for this development.
Okay.
And only to be nosy, the property to the west there is, hold on, Munson TVC Hospitality. I know it's an active business, but I also know that the properties due west of there, we've seen a couple different proposals for as well. I only bring that up because all of these lots are just so tight in the style of development, along all of them is going to look similar to be redeveloped. I'm curious if there was any thought in going bigger, trying to acquire other pieces. I know that you control this and you can only kind of work with what you've got, but I just wanted to be nosy to see if there had been any investigation around this area.
I'm getting too old.
Okay,
No,
deal.
I'm having a hard time getting through this project.
Fair enough, fair enough. I appreciate that. Okay, any other questions for the applicant? Thank you again for your time. If not, we've got a few conditions before us in Claire's memo, as well as a couple potential motions.
But this memo was written before she looked at these new plans, so I'm wondering how that changes.
Yeah, so I grab this. Can I get another microphone one of these days? So I would say the changes to me wouldn't trigger any changes to the recommended conditions of approval, except that I would like to just see an updated photometric plan. I don't think it's going to have any bearing on it. It's very minimal moving, but they pretty easy to prepare, so that would be my one recommended additional condition.
I'll make a motion to approve site plan review 13-24, special land use 6-24 Park Shore vacation rentals, based on the finding of facts in Claire's memo and suggested conditions 1 through 6 in the staff memo, plus the addition of approval of an amended photometric plan.
Second?
Thank you. We have motion by Carl, seconded by Steve for approval of site plan review 13-24 and special land use 6-24 with conditions 1 through 6 with the addition of the 7th with the photometric plan and the included findings of fact. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. Okay, next up is site plan review 15-24 and special land use 7-24, Life Point Bible Church, and in addition to the existing facility. Claire, you want to kick us off here, please?
Okay, so this is a proposal for a 20,000 square foot addition to the existing Life Point Church, located right near the intersection of 3 Mile Road and Garfield Road. The parcel is zoned agriculture. It's a 9-acre parcel. This would be a large place of public assembly, which is permitted as a special land use permit. So the church was originally constructed in the 1960s. Records do not indicate that a special land use permit was ever secured, so that as a part of this application, we'd be bringing the church and the existing operations into the fold from a zoning standpoint. Right now, it exists as a legal non-conforming use. So the application packet includes a detailed description of operations. They're going from they're going from 2 services to 1, which would result in an increase of 110 average daily trips on Sundays, so which is a non-peak traffic time. It does not trigger a traffic study based on our zoning ordinance, but you'll see there is detailed information on kind of traffic and potential impacts of that. There was a parking lot expansion in 2022. All they did was basically was just expand the parking lot, so that was reviewed administratively, but they are proposing with this significantly more parking spaces than they would be required per the ordinance.
large places of public assembly require a special review from Grand Traverse Metro Fire and the Road Commission, just to verify that they don't need a secondary entrance. So we checked both with Metro Fire and the Road Commission. Both are comfortable with the existing configuration, don't feel like there is any need or reason for an additional entrance. The photometric plan has been updated. It's on your desk. I think you two are sharing. Sorry, I didn't make quite enough copies. But that's on your desk, and it meets the ordinance requirements. So you'll see that there was one condition related to the photometric plan that can be removed because that is all taken care of. So that's all that I have. Doug is here as well as I believe a few representatives on behalf of the applicant.
Thanks. Doug Mansfield, Mansfield Land Use Consultants, 830 Cottage View Drive, Suite 201, Traverse City. And I am here tonight Bible Church. There you go. She's quick.
We were getting there.
Yeah.
We were getting there.
So-
We could see it happen.
And with me tonight, would you stand up, gentlemen, and introduce yourselves?
Come on up to the podium, please, if you wouldn't mind, for the record.
My name is Josh Knorr, one of the pastors at Life Point Bible Church.
I am Doug Knorr, one of the pastors at Life Point Bible Church.
These gentlemen are the operations of the facility and part of the decision team of how they're going to act or interact not only internally but externally in the community. And I've really, we've kind of hashed out things like, what is this church? What is your philosophy? You know, because there's so many different churches and what they do. And what this one is about is a worship facility on Sunday morning. Really, that's what it's about. They have minor things during the day. They are not a school, so we're not trading peak hour trips. They're not in a career center. They're not out into outdoor production. They're not a production studio. So that's a lot of the worries that happens, especially in an agricultural area, is the noise and the character of the land. Substantially, as Claire said, this church is existing, as most people have seen it, for many, many, many years. It's had some minor amendments. It's been remodeled extensively inside. And this is the master plan for this church. This is probably, at this point, about a 10-year view. They were vetting it, but we had to go through all the health department criteria, fire department criteria, road commissioner criteria, your criteria, so we wanted to show you the biggest picture we could. But I will say, the first phase in the first year, and this is a progressive, they're trying to be as progressive as possible, probably involves an area like this, expansion. So, but we wanted to master plan it, okay? So, the septic field, you don't want to do twice. So the health department, we had to go through that. The well, the fire suppression tank, these are implements that had to be scaled out in the first phases. So, and to go through theirs, again, the approach is notably a little bit closer to 3 Mile than we would like. The discussions we had with the road commission were, we're not that far away from a roundabout that's going to change that entire area, okay? Especially in that intersection, which we know is at an angle, an acute angle to the west. We get lazy when we're looking over our shoulders, and we've had our share of accidents there, but that is in the works, so why redo it twice? We enter the project. You'll note that there's a large natural valley running from the northeast to the southwest. That goes quite a ways to the northeast, terminating and being blocked by 3 Mile Road construction. So that is our natural stormwater retention area. We are holding a back-to-back 100-year storm event there without any problem. It's sand. We wish we could get something greener down there, but it drains. Up the hill from that and up the ridge is where the new septic fields are located. There's an existing septic field down along the north edge of the parking lot. It's way too small to facilitate this. So that'll be abandoned and cured, and then the new one will be going down that hillside in the flat area of that. It also has the correct isolation zone from the septic field to where the high water, the retention is. And it has a maintenance drive that you saw out there today is predominantly there now, and it came from the construction of that eastern parking lot. We are doing a little bit, we've got some bird bass on the site. We're sheet draining everything now and correcting that flow so it's all headed in the correct direction, slowing it down in drains, and then it'll go down rock channels to dissipate the energy before it gets to the bottom. The well is being tested right now to see if it can last till we go to phase 2 when it has to be relocated. But it's got to it still has to provide the water recovery to the tank within 24 hours. That tank has to be refilled, along with any domestic supply. So if there is a fire, it's about a 15,000 gallon tank on there to charge the sprinkler lines. If that water runs out, it can either be refilled by fire trucks, or it has to be able to be refilled by the well in 24 hours. So they're testing to make sure that it will have to be removed in a final phase, just as in the way, isolation-wise. We're bringing those high poles down about, I think we're under 20 feet now. They'll be dark sky, correct? And we've got the lenses on it now and the right bulbs and the right angles to keep it on the site. We are installing a couple of tree islands to meet those criteria. And then I think we've got a total of about 26 trees we're planting. Otherwise, we meet the criteria with I think we're 82% open space left on the 9 acres. So, so this is I think, in using the natural land and the context with where this church is, this is going to see everyone through for a long, long time. So we welcome your questions.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Okay, we have a public hearing that we're going to open up here momentarily, and then if we get anything else, we might call on you back. So with that, we can open the public hearing at 7:11, and it's open to anybody who's having any questions or comment. Okay. Going once, going twice. No one's hiding. Blaze, you good? All right. Sounds good. We'll close the public hearing at 7:12 and bring it back. Any questions of the applicant or anything else we need to discuss on this one? If not,
I'll make a motion to approve SPR 15-24, Special Land Use 7-24, Life Point Bible Church addition, as it meets the special land use standards and site plan review, with the findings of facts as amended 1 through 4, striking number 3 because it has already been met.
Second.
thank you. We have a motion by Renee, seconded by Steve, for approval of site plan review 15-24 and special land use 7-24 with the findings of fact as presented, as well as the 3 conditions that are left in here minus striking number 3. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for your time, gentlemen. We appreciate it. Thank you. Next on the agenda is public comment round 2. Again, anyone's welcome to come on up to the lectern if you'd like. Okay, we'll shut that down. Any future agenda items we need to kick around? Sounds like we're going to have August 20th party with zoning updates. Can't wait for that again. Will you actually give the rest of the crew the lay of the land, how it's going to go?
So August 20th, we also have a public hearing for Bayview, for Elmbrook, Phase 1. And that was just because I didn't want to do 3 public hearings in one night. This was actually pretty, we could have had a third one tonight, but it just sometimes they take, hour and a half. So we're going to start with Elmbrook Phase 1 public hearing. It's a use by right. That's for site plan review. And then we are planning to revisit, I believe, I spoke with Dan and I counted, I think it was 6 items that the board had asked the planning commission to take a closer look at. So you can plan to have an updated zoning ordinance based on the joint board discussion, and you will have a staff memo that goes into the 6 items and some different policy options, and it's really going to be just a discussion. My understanding is that some of the board members are interested in having some follow-up discussion on Monday evening related to the zoning ordinance and some of the items that were discussed, so there could be some additional guidance or recommendation from the board after Monday's meeting, so Mindy and I will bring that forth to the planning commission on the 20th.
If I'm here.
As long as you're here, yeah.
I'm supposed to be in Lansing August 20th.
I'm supposed to be coming back from Connecticut. Oh.
I'll keep you posted.
Well, I will be here, so as long as we have hopefully we have a quorum and we can, definitely if you're not going to be able to make it, feel free, would appreciate if you could send any correspondence ahead of time, and happy to meet one-on-one with anybody ahead of time as well.
Sounds good.
Okay, this time, though, I will take you up on your offer for a copy of it, the ordinance.
Paul,
Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
Anyone else?
I will.
Stephen?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're going to have an electronic update though, right?
Yeah.
That we can access?
And I will make sure to print at least 2, and anyone else who wants one, just let me know.
Okay. Upcoming meeting dates, we've got, again, August 20th on the books at 6:30, and then our next regular one will be here before you know it, September 3rd. And with that, Renee, we are out of here at 7:15.
You're awesome.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
All I was thinking.